President Trump is saying that he is now directing the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons immediately. This would be the first nuclear test in more than 30 years, breaking away from decades of U.S. policy. The president says that he wants to resume testing on an equal basis with countries like Russia and China. The announcement comes just days after Russia successfully tested a nuclear-powered submarine torpedo. North Korea test-fired a missile with nuclear capabilities just as Trump touched down in South Korea. So for more, I want to bring in the director of global risk at the Federation of American Scientists, Jon Wolfsthal. Jon, thank you for being here with us. So first of all, the idea here that nuclear testing, right, hasn't happened in the U.S. in some 30 years. What would this testing look like? Where would it happen?
So we've been scratching our head all day to try to understand what President Trump means. Russia and China do not test nuclear weapons. The nominee to be the U.S. Commander of Strategic Command testified to that today. And so if we're going to test on an equal basis, we're already doing that by not testing. But if the U.S. were to resume testing explosively nuclear weapons, it would happen in Nevada at the Nevada National Security Site, about 45 minutes north of Las Vegas. The U.S. conducted about 1,000 nuclear tests all over the country, but mostly in Nevada. And it would take short of 2 or 3 years to do an actual full-up test in a way that benefited American designs and security. But it could happen much shorter if the idea was just to demonstrate that our nuclear weapons still can detonate.
2 or 3 years to conduct it. I think that timeline might surprise a lot of people. And if they were to do something like that, does that then produce fallout? Is there a risk at all to the American public?
So the United States is a member of several international treaties which prohibit the testing of nuclear weapons in the atmosphere. Those date back to the 1960s. Donald Trump apparently doesn't really care about whether the U.S. is a party to treaties or binding U.S. law. But according to the law, it would have to happen underground. And that could be done in a way that prevents any radiation from spreading to the atmosphere or nearby. But you would feel the seismic shock in Las Vegas. And I can guarantee you the real estate prices there are going to go down. But if the United States wanted to conduct a more dramatic test, the president retains the right to violate these treaties, break the law, and test them in the atmosphere. But we have no indication that's what he's planning to do.
Why do you think the president feels like testing needs to happen now? And do you also think that it's okay that there hasn't been testing for so long?
Not only is it okay that there hasn't been testing, the United States wanted to have a test ban to lock in our technical advantage. We conducted over 1,000 nuclear tests and know more about nuclear weapons than China or Russia combined. And that data, combined with our advanced computers and scientific techniques, lock in our technical advantage. By comparison, China conducted about 45 nuclear tests, and so their weapons are not nearly as advanced. So I think it's a good thing that we don't test. And I think what may have sparked this is the recent statements by Russian President Putin that they had tested a new cruise missile and a new underwater torpedo, and President Trump felt like he had to get into the game too. I think he's not aware that the United States just tested 4 submarine-launched ballistic missiles just last month. I don't think either of these are provoking the other, but this is what an arms race looks like, when each country takes action because it feels the other country is gaining advantage, and that ratchets up the tension between all countries.
Oh, interesting. An arms race essentially unfolding right before our eyes. Jon Wolfsthal, thank you for being here with us.